And I'm going to bring to the podium Harshit Jain, MD and founder and global CEO of Doceree, and he's going to be talking about building the next in pharma marketing or context.
My name is Harshit Jain. I'm a physician by training. Not sure why I'm doing marketing, probably. I love it, have been doing for last over 2 decades. Have built few businesses in the past, and I consider myself as a problem solver. Have been solving problems for the pharmaceutical industry, for the OTC industry, for public health, and now focusing on HCP marketing in particular. That's what we started with about 5 years ago. That's when our journey started. And we just celebrated our 5th anniversary last week. And it was amazing going back 5 years and thinking so much has happened in 5 years, right? Sometimes it looks like a dream, which I want never to end. I want to stay in this dream forever. So when we started 5 years ago, we looked at singularly on the bottom of the funnel, right? EHR messaging, right? It was messy when we came in, very promising, but there was no technology at play at that point of time. And there were lots of brands really passionate about utilizing that moment of prescription, because that's when most of the decisions were taken. And now we see, as Doceree kind of leading the category, with more than 150 integrations with EHR, more than 35 health systems across the country, and working with most of the manufacturers and agencies, and growing at a very, very rapid pace. It wasn't an easy thing to do, but we realized how important this channel is and how much more this channel can do. It was only used primarily for promotional messaging as such, but realized when you have the technology which sits inside, such strongly inside EHRs, you could use those moments to communicate appropriate messages at the most appropriate times, right? Not just a promotional brand message. It could be a clinical trial message, right? Imagine recruiting a patient in real time when the physician knows that the patient sitting in front of him could be eligible for a clinical trial. Right? Or it is about patient affordability messaging, when you can recommend a program at the same time the script is being written. So it's a very powerful moment. And I think thanks to the efforts from, a lot of people in the category, a lot of associations like POCMA, etc., now this category is growing. Right? Last, when I read, more than $1 billion was spent only on point of care messaging. Right? So the budgets are now kind of getting distributed from just the top of the funnel and going into the middle and the bottom, right? But our journey didn't end there. We are kind of further building technology. We got 4 patents from USPTO, which sits inside the EHR, and how well can we communicate the message in a privacy-safe manner, and were recognized by various award shows. Right? So our journey didn't end there, right? We are restless, hungry people, right? A team of over 300 people, some of them are sitting here, right? So we said, okay, from the bottom of the funnel, let's move a little up. Let's look at the middle of the funnel. And we found that the boundaries between the top and the middle part of the funnel were a little blurred. It was kind of combined. And together, it was known as the HCP programmatic space. More than $4 billion invested each year, but the bulk of the investments going on the non-endemic channels, the social channels, right, which are more the blue jean moments, right, as you say. But we talk about white coat moments a lot, right? And again, it's a no-brainer how important white coat moments are as compared to the blue jean moment. And started assessing what is the distribution of the white coat and the blue jean moments in that HCP programmatic space, which was $4 billion, right? And found out it was very limited, right? Apart from few large players where the investment was organized, the long tail was like really, really long. And not just from the smaller medical journal or the publishing platforms, but even the larger groups, right? because it was not organized. So we, again, used technology because technology is the backbone to solve any problem, and created the first ad manager solution, which was the first ad monetization solution built exclusively for health and wellness publishers. Launched Ad Manager, brought more than 2,000 medical journal and medical education platforms onto the Ad Manager, which is now available programmatically to all the brands and agencies. Right? Now, these are the white coat moments that you don't want to afford to miss, especially in an era when the clickless searches are going down. You want to make yourselves more and more relevant. Otherwise, you really don't know where those dollars are going. And the world would be very different in next 2, 3, 5 years, or even less. Right? The digital revolution, which took about 20 years, this AI revolution will not take 20 years. Right? It won't even take more than 5 years. This is the pace at which things are changing. Right? So, said, okay, the bottom of the funnel is done. We started working in the middle part of the funnel, but in order to connect them, there is data. Right? And data also is very scattered. There are few large players in the category, and there are multiple smaller players, each sitting on a wealth of data. Right? Said, okay, how could we create a platform? How could we give data partners a platform so that they can present their case to the brands and how useful it can be? So created the world's first data marketplace focused only on HCPs. Our focus has been only on HCP because patient is where everyone is going, relatively easy to solve. It's a controversial statement to say, but relatively easy to solve because the big players like the Google and the large DSPs have done a lot, right? And healthcare is just a filter of that. So focused on HCPs, growing at a very, very rapid pace, right? So that was, I think, part of our story on how we are working towards bringing the entire marketing funnel together so that it can work more efficiently and more effectively for all of you, right? Now, once this marketing funnel works more efficiently, right, which means your script is now written. That's the ultimate objective, ultimate outcome you expect. But now that script needs to be filled as well, right? So we started looking at the affordability programs and found out that more than 90% of the affordability programs in the country aren't utilized, while more than 80% of the Americans are not able to afford medicine. Two contradictory statements, right? Hence, we said, okay, how could we use the power of HCP to improve this influence, right? Because most of the efforts on affordability programs, and there are plenty of them, was addressing one particular archetype of patients, which was the coupon seekers. If you know could be a possible coupon, you will go online and search for it, and you will find it, and you will use it. But there is a bigger population who is not a coupon seeker. That population may not even show up at the pharmacy, right? And those are the people who need it the most. Those are the people who will improve the utilization. And that's when we are trying to bring in the influence of the HCP, that give him that program, give that patient the program when you write a script, right? And based on the AI and a lot of data, there are predictive models in place in which you could predict whether this person will be compliant or adherent, or would he even show up to the pharmacy or not. So I have a quick video to show the benefits of this offer.
When pharma advertisers talk to patients about their copay vouchers, this is what they do.
Hello, patient. These are the copay benefits you qualify for. Hello, patient. If your doctor prescribes this brand and this medicine, guess how much discount you get? Guess? Oh no, patient. We fix your condition, Y your location, and Z your medication. This is your copay voucher.
What's the cure? Talk to the doctor instead. Join copay.com, the largest database of copay and patient affordability programs in the US, nudging them about patient benefits at the moment that matters, the moment of prescription. Docare.
So, easy program, you have a program, go on copay.com, register that program, and then it will start showing up in all the physician workflows, wherever, whenever the physician is writing a script, right? So potential to improve the utilization of copay programs significantly. And so this is our first step in this direction in market access. We have a long product roadmap in order to simplify this entire affordability workflow. So what's next? That's all has happened, right? Long summary. What's next? Right? The Apple event, right? I know Tim Cook will go up on stage after I finish my session. Not on this stage, Fierce has not invited him, but in the Steve Jobs Theater, right? To launch the new iPhone, right? So iPhone is about today, right? What I'm going to talk about is about today, and that will impact tomorrow, and not just us, but the so many patients all over the world, not just United States, right? That's the difference between me and Tim Cook, so little bit. So imagine a world where you have one screen, right, or single profile on how can you see the physician, what all you know about the physician. I know you're all sitting on so much piles of data from different sources. You spend so much in subscribing to so many different sources, but they all sit separate, right? Imagine there is one screen where all the data that you have comes together to create a singular profile of the HCP, whether it is the prescribing history or the academic or the intelligence or the practice network, referral network, whatever it is, and you continue to get more sources of data and keep adding to this, as simple as that. Now, to continue to build on that, you also know what does he do? Like a full, like a day in the life of a physician, how in the morning he checks emails, then he goes to work and he is on an EHR platform for next 6 hours. In between, when he wants to take a break, he may go on Facebook or Meta to check the social media, and his journey continues. Imagine if you have that for all the physicians possible that you want to reach, right? And based on that, you decide the channels on which you want to influence the positions, not just the channels, but those moments when and where, right? When does he check the messages? What is the right time when you are able to engage well with your physician, right? And all of this, when you're able to connect it with a business matrix, which is not just a volume matrix, like a reach or an impression, but the script matrix, right? The outcome matrix, because that's what really matters. So, and in an environment which you can predict, right? Sounds too good to be true, right? Conceptually, it is possible to do because all the data is available and all of you have access to all that data, right? It is just about how is it possible to bring it together, right? And on top of it, right, we all use ChatGPT now, right? Can I start using ChatGPT to start answering about my campaigns, about my brand, right? Can I create an audience a new audience for my brand using ChatGPT? Can the ChatGPT tell me who are my top prescribers, right? And how do I engage well with them, right? Can a ChatGPT help me in creating those right moments to identify inside an EHR channel? Again, all theoretically possible to do because that's what data can help us achieve, right? So presenting our new product, the only AI-powered operating system for healthcare marketing, right? An open ecosystem, this is not the only thing that you should be working with. So don't worry, you will not only be working with Docere, you will be working with all the partners that you will be working with, but this is one ecosystem that brings it all together, right? That brings all the data together, that brings all the channels together so that you are able to create that kind of outcomes. You're able to create that kind of intelligence that you need. right? It is built on our core belief that informed healthcare professionals, they drive not just business outcomes, but also better patient outcomes, right? So if a healthcare professional is able to access the right information at the right time, it impacts patient outcomes as well, right? And that's why we built Doceree, the only AI-powered operating system in healthcare marketing, right? So our patented solution, our patented AI, it operates on layers of context, right? So all the data that I've been talking about, it works as different layers, and it keeps on becoming better and better in improving the precision, the targeting that you want to do, not just again on the channels, on the people, but on those right moments as well. Right? So the few layers that we see, the 5 layers, as we say, the layers of context. First is the intelligence layer, which tells about who the HCP is. Right? Often at times, we get access to a lot of lists, the NPI list on which we run the campaigns. Right? But when we go deeper into those lists, we realize those audience lists were created few months ago or probably more than a year ago, and it was created at the time the brand was launched. The list, the audience list, was not the most appropriate list for the channel with which the person needs to be engaged, right? Or the objective that needs to be achieved. Second is the reading layer. What is the HCP learning now? What is the HCP doing now? Is he on Meta? Is he reading a Springer journal? What is the HCP doing now? So that as a brand, I can influence the physician at that moment. Right? Then the conversation layer. How does a physician prefer to engage? Via text message, via email, via display advertising, via connected TV? What channel, how do I prefer to engage? Right? Then comes the workflow layer on, okay, I know how to engage, but how does that HCP make a decision? That's the 5th layer of the workflow layer. And then comes the experience layer on which all of them sit together. As a marketeer, what kind of experience you want to create or you can create for the HCP. Right? Guided by 5 core principles, which is higher precision, higher connections, ecosystem over silos, intelligence over intuition, and impact over impressions. Right? Overall idea to further improve the patient outcomes. Right? So this is how the full product suite or the full operating system looks currently, all working together into a singular platform. And this is just the beginning. You think about the apps or the channels or the platforms you work with, they all would be a part of this ecosystem. The idea is for all of them to start working seamlessly together, which does not happen. Right? And that's why we have been talking about omni-channel for a while, but there are reasonable level of success that a lot of brands have, but there is so much more that can be done. Imagine this like an open ecosystem, unlike the Apple one, but an open ecosystem in which a lot of partners can come together and be a part of this ecosystem. Right? I'm mindful of time, but moving to the next part. So that was the first product that I wanted to introduce. The second product that I want to introduce, again, has to be in AI. So much happening in AI, how can we stay away from AI? So this is our take on conversation AI or the agentic AI, how the number of agents, agentic AI has been growing. And as healthcare marketing, we haven't seen a lot of commercial products or commercial applications apart from the optimizations that we see. Or we can do an impression optimization, we can do a performance optimization, but there are no commercial products as such that we have seen that have been available for the healthcare marketing as such. Right? So presenting RepTwin. It's the first ever AI-powered ad format which makes brand reps accessible to physicians 24/7. Imagine this like a virtual rep, which knows all approved MLR content, which is available via text message, audio call, video call, all forms of communication to a physician whenever physician needs it, wherever the physician needs it. Can we play the video, please?
You know when I really need answers from your medical rep? Right now. Hey, doc.
Need dosage data? Trial summary?
Side effects? How helpful would it be if your rep could be?
Right here, doc?
Follow me.
Get away from me! You did this to me! Ah!
I know, I'm sorry, just breathe.
And where's Avery?
Can I give this to pregnant patients?
Safe after second trimester.
So, what else is up, doc?
And you know the best part? They're there only when I need them.
Docere presents RepTwin, the first AI-powered ad format that makes your brand rep accessible to physicians 24/7.
A simple virtual rep, which is easy to make, maybe will take a couple of minutes to create a virtual rep, knows everything about the brand, and a lot of brands are using it to address different use cases. Some of them are using as brand trainers. Some are using this as promotional reps. Some are using to expand coverage in areas where you need support from other languages. So this rep knows all languages for Congress activations, for so many different challenges that this version of agentic AI for pharma can attempt to solve. So great, that's all I had to share. We are available at our booth on first floor to answer any questions, and thank you so much for being so patient. Thank you.